They took me off the guest list, and I became the host of the event they all attended. Before we get into the story, tell us in the comments section where you are watching from. And don't forget to leave your honest review. They say family is everything, but what happens when everything you thought you were to your family turns out to be nothing? I wasn't supposed to find out that way. One random Tuesday, around noon, I was curled up on my couch with my laptop, sorting through mood boards for a bridal shower I was planning. Just another regular day in the life of a freelance event planner, unwashed coffee mug on the table, one sock on, hair in a messy bun that was not the good kind. And then, I opened Instagram. There it was, a sleek cinematic promo video with rose gold filters, violin swells, and perfectly timed slow-motion twirls. Samantha's 30th, an evening of elegance, black tie, live orchestra, garden venue, fire dancers, celebrity DJ, hashtag Sam turns 30. The caption read, "The Rivera event of the year, invite only." And the comments? Exploding. Cousins, aunties, friends from college. Everyone was tagging each other, posting heart emojis and hyping up the event like it was a royal wedding. Everyone but me. I froze. I waited for that gut squeeze to pass. You know the one, when your brain hasn't caught up to your heart, but your body already knows the truth. I searched for my name, scrolled through every like, every RSVP comment, even the tagged guest list teaser. Nothing. That's when I checked the family group chat. Except I couldn't find it. I scrolled up, typed Rivera in the search bar. Nothing. I'd been removed. No warning, no message, just gone. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake, a tech glitch. WhatsApp does weird things sometimes, right? So I called my mom. She picked up on the second ring. Her voice was warm. Nervous, I cut straight to it. Did they change the group chat? I'm not in it anymore. One of those long, heavy silences that make your throat burn. Then she said it. Sweetheart, I didn't know how to tell you. Claudia didn't want any tension at the party. With Marcus being there, she thought it would be better this way. Marcus, of course, my ex-boyfriend, now Samantha's new one. My cousin's current prize was my old heartbreak. The betrayal hit harder than I expected. Not because of Marcus, not even because of Samantha, but because they made a decision about me. And didn't even have the decency to tell me. I wasn't family anymore. I was a potential embarrassment. My mom kept talking, trying to explain, something about Claudia not wanting to stir the pot, about how they were trying to avoid drama. Funny how people will create drama, just to avoid it. I hung up politely. I didn't scream, I didn't curse, instead I sat there in silence. And then, I opened my own Instagram, posted a quote card. White text on black. Sometimes, rejection is redirection. No hashtags, no caption, just that. But inside, I was burning, not from rage, from resolve. I had spent years supporting this family, helped plan Claudia's 60th birthday bash, designed Samantha's college graduation dinner from scratch, babysat their chaos, dressed up their dysfunction, and now, when it mattered most, I was discarded like a bad memory. I told myself to let it go, that rising above it was the mature thing to do. But then, something unexpected happened. 3 hours later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Danielle Rivera? The voice asked. This is Adele Monroe. I believe we worked together on the Johnson wedding last year? Mrs. Monroe. Yes, the CEO of Monroe Foundations. Philanthropist. Old money with a heart of gold and a Rolodex full of very important people. I'm sponsoring a private event this weekend, she said, but my assistant fell terribly ill. It's a big birthday celebration and things are falling apart. I need someone competent, someone with taste, someone who can take charge last minute. I sat up straight. What event is it? I asked cautiously. She chuckled. Oh, something for a young woman named Samantha Rivera. You know her by any chance? I could have laughed, cried, screamed, but instead I smiled. Yes, I said calmly. I know her very well. She continued. The venue is already booked, but I'll need your expertise to tie things together. Vendors, layout, timing, and any creative touches you think could elevate the experience. You'll have full access. We'll give you sponsor credit on the print materials and digital invite, of course. My heart thudded. Sponsor credit? Full access? I was about to plan the party. I wasn't even invited to. It felt like the universe had just handed me a microphone at a concert I was kicked out of. And suddenly, I wasn't hurt anymore. I wasn't even mad. I was focused. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about ruining someone else's moment, it's about owning your own. And I wasn't gonna crash that party. No, that would be too small. I was gonna build it. From the ground up, in my style, on my terms, with my name on it. Because they may have taken me off the guest list, but they forgot one thing. I know how to plan the whole damn event. I didn't want revenge. I wanted something far better. Respect, recognition, reinvention. And when they all arrived on that perfect Saturday night, dressed to impress, laughing, unaware, they'd walk right through the doors I built, and I'd be the one holding them open. I didn't sleep that night. While most people were dreaming of romance or revenge, I was awake, sketching out timelines, vendor lists, contingency plans. My kitchen table looked like mission control. Post-its, fabric swatches, Pinterest boards printed out in color-coded layers. This wasn't just a party anymore. This was a statement. I was going to make sure that Samantha's 30th birthday was the most unforgettable event of the year, and not for the reasons they expected. The morning after I said yes to Adele Monroe, I arrived at the venue for a walkthrough. The first person I saw? Claudia, my aunt, Samantha's mother, also known as Queen Rivera of passive aggression. She was arguing with the florist, something about hydrangeas not being elegant enough. I stepped in smoothly. Actually, white anemones would elevate the centerpiece, cleaner silhouette, more editorial. She turned around, her face dropped. Danielle? What are you doing here? I smiled like I'd just run into her at brunch. Didn't Samantha tell you? I'm co-sponsoring the event. Mrs. Monroe brought me on to produce it. Claudia blinked. For once she had no script, no snark, just pure unfiltered panic, painted over with a tight smile. Oh, how surprising. I know, I said with a hint of sugar. But we all want Samantha to have the perfect night, don't we? That's when I realized something. They hadn't told her. They hadn't told Samantha I was involved, which meant I had the element of surprise. And I wasn't going to waste it. Over the next few days, I worked like a woman possessed. By day, I was emailing vendors, finalizing seating charts, booking the aerial performers. By night, I was crafting little personal touches Samantha would love. The girl may have betrayed me, but I still knew her tastes like my own heartbeat. Gold accents, velvet lounges, a dessert station inspired by Paris, her dream honeymoon destination. I didn't just plan her party, I curated her fantasy. But make no mistake, this wasn't about forgiveness. This was about dominance through grace. The family may have taken me off the guest list, but now they couldn't host this party without me. And they knew it. Aunt Claudia's calls became frequent, nervous, micromanaging. I kept her at arm's length, polite but firm. Don't worry, I told her, you can just enjoy the night, let me handle the magic. Meanwhile, my name, Danielle Rivera, co-sponsor and creative director, was being printed on the official program. Subtle, sophisticated, but impossible to miss. By Friday, the day before the party, word had begun to circulate. I got a text from my cousin Michelle. Girl, are you serious? I heard you're planning Sam's birthday. This is insane. Followed by another. Tell me this isn't some revenge plot. Please, this is so you. I didn't respond. Let them wonder. Let the mystery marinate. The day of the event arrived like a thunderstorm in a silk dress. Everything looked perfect. The garden was transformed into a candlelit dream. Glass orbs hung from the trees, the air smelled of jasmine and vanilla bean. A string quartet played a slowed-down version of Rihanna's Diamonds, and standing at the entrance, clipboard in hand, was me. I wore navy silk, hair pinned up, earrings subtle but expensive. And when guests arrived, oh, they saw me. Some blinked, some smiled awkwardly, some whispered as they passed, but not a single one looked me in the eye for more than a few seconds. That's the power of owning a moment. You don't have to scream. You just exist, elegantly. Then came Samantha. She stepped out of the car like a movie star, long white gown, full glam, camera flashes greeting her like royalty. I watched from a distance. She hadn't seen me yet. She waved at the photographer, hugged her college friends, laughed, the fake kind that's too loud. And then her eyes scanned the entrance and landed on me. She froze mid-step. It was subtle, but I saw it. The flicker of confusion, the quick double take, the silent mouth forming a question she didn't dare ask out loud. I walked over, cool as iced champagne. Happy birthday, Samantha, she blinked. Danielle, you hear? More than that. I smiled. I made tonight happen. Her jaw tightened. You thought wrong. She looked around, realizing just how intricate everything was. Wait, you planned all this? Designed, coordinated, styled, sponsored, I said, one eyebrow raised. Did you like the floral arch? You always did love white orchids. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she whispered, why would you do this? And I leaned in just enough for her to feel it. Because I don't crash parties, Samantha. I run them. She didn't say thank you. Of course not. Pride was too heavy, but her silence was a bigger compliment than words. She walked inside, and I returned to my post. Not as a guest, not as an outsider, but as a woman who built the night they thought I didn't deserve to attend. That's when the photographers took the first official group shot, with my name tagged in the sponsor credit, printed across every step and repeat banner. And just like that, I was in the family photos again. But this time, I wasn't standing on the sidelines. You'd think that would be the end of it. The perfect mic drop, the clean clapback. But no. Something happened later that night, something I hadn't planned for. It started with a voice I hadn't heard in years. You know that moment in movies, when the music dips and everything slows down? The clinking glasses, the soft laughter, the twinkling lights, and then someone walks in and the entire room shifts? That happened to me. But this wasn't a movie. This was the night I thought I had won. The night I stood among gold-trimmed champagne flutes and candlelit smiles, basking in the glow of a party I had orchestrated to near perfection. The night I finally felt like I had reclaimed my place, until I turned around and saw him. He wasn't supposed to be there. Eli Walker. My ex. Tall, broad shoulders, black suit that fit too well, and that same crooked smile I used to wake up next to. The same one that told me I wasn't crazy for dreaming bigger than our small-town roots. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. Not since he left me weeks before our wedding with a voicemail that said, and I quote, I think we're just moving at different speeds. That voicemail haunted me for months, played in my head like a loop I couldn't pause. So you can imagine my surprise, no, my shock, when I saw him walk into my event, holding a gift bag like he had been invited. He hadn't. Trust me, I double-checked the guest list, I curated it myself. I stepped forward before anyone else could. Eli? I asked, cool and measured, like I wasn't screaming on the inside. He looked surprised to see me. Danielle, he said almost tenderly. Wow. You look like someone who didn't expect to see you here. He winced. Yeah, I figured, but I ran into Samantha last month. She invited me. Of course, Samantha. She always did enjoy collecting pieces of my past like souvenirs. First my favorite stylist, then my go-to cafe, and now the man who once held my heart. You're not exactly family, I said. No, he replied, but you were. And just like that, every wall I'd spent months rebuilding cracked just a little. I told myself to walk away, to be the woman who planned the party, not the girl he left behind. But instead, I said, come with me. I led him to the back terrace, away from the string quartet, the curated laughter, the judging eyes of Aunt Claudia. We stood under soft fairy lights, surrounded by orchids and soft petals, my signature aesthetic, a world I had built to keep chaos out. And yet there he was. A storm in tailored clothing. So, I said, arms crossed, what are you doing here, really? He hesitated. Then, you. I blinked. Excuse me? I came to see you. I mean, yeah, Samantha invited me, but once I heard you were behind this, planning this, I knew I had to come. That was not the answer I expected. Not even close. After 2 years, you just show up at the one place I finally found peace? He stepped forward. I saw the press about this event. Your name was all over it. Danielle, this is incredible. That you made this happen. And seeing all this, it just made me realize how much I underestimated you. My breath caught in my throat. Not because of the compliment, but because it was the first time he'd ever said anything like that, without me asking for it. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't forget the voicemail. The silence that followed, the way he walked out when I needed him to stay. You don't get to do this, I said softly. You don't get to reappear in my life like a season finale twist. He laughed sadly. I know, but I had to try. I had to see if the door was still open. I looked away and saw through the glass doors Samantha watching us, arms folded, face unreadable, lips pressed into a tight line. Of course she was watching. This wasn't just about me. This was about her, too. The irony? This was her party, her moment, but now, all eyes were drifting to the back terrace. People were whispering. Phones were out. and I suddenly realized what this looked like to everyone else. The dramatic ex, the woman who planned the party to get her man back. The narrative I had spent months avoiding was writing itself right in front of me, and if I didn't shut it down, I'd lose the upper hand I had fought so hard to regain. So I did what I had to do. I took a deep breath and smiled. "You should stay, Ely. Enjoy the night." He looked surprised. "Really?" "Yes, because now you get to see exactly who I became without you." I turned and walked back inside, head held high, the music swelled, a photographer snapped my photo. And just like that, the rumors had a new twist. But I didn't care, because I wasn't the girl with a broken engagement anymore. I was the woman who turned rejection into power. But just as I reached the center of the room, my phone buzzed. One new message, from an unknown number. "You've made quite the scene tonight, but don't think this is over. Some of us haven't forgotten what you did." I stared at it, frozen. A chill ran through me, colder than the night air. What I did? What were they talking about? My hand shook slightly as I slipped the phone back into my clutch. Because suddenly, this wasn't just a party anymore. It was a countdown. And I didn't even know what was coming next. I thought reclaiming my place would be the end of the story. But someone, somewhere, was holding on to a secret. One tied to my past, and whatever it wasn't staying buried much longer. I stared at the words as my reflection danced across the champagne glass in my hand. My fingers tightened. What I did? That sentence echoed louder than the music thumping in the background. I hadn't done anything wrong. Had I? But as I stood there, swaying between the sparkle of chandeliers and the shadows of my past, one name crept into my mind like smoke under a locked door. Caroline. She was my cousin, older by 4 years, smarter by many more. She had that perfect daughter energy. The valedictorian, the diplomat, the one everyone compared me to when I wore eyeliner too dark or made too much noise at dinner. But I knew things. Things they didn't know she hid beneath her designer sweaters and praise. Like the time she borrowed money from my mom behind Aunt Claudia's back. Or the time I walked in on her kissing a man who definitely wasn't her fiancé, 2 weeks before her wedding. I had kept her secrets. Buried them deep. Because family. Because loyalty. But when I was cut off the guest list, when no one stood up for me, I started digging through everything I'd buried. And now, this message? Felt like someone was trying to bury me. I looked around the ballroom, scanning faces. Who sent it? Everyone looked normal, laughing, toasting, living their best curated moments. But I had learned something tonight. Normal is just what people wear over their secrets. I opened my phone again, clicked reply. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, then vanished, appeared again. Then the reply, "Don't play dumb. We both know the truth about the scholarship fund." My stomach twisted. There it was, the one secret even I tried to forget. See, 2 years ago there was a family foundation set up in Grandpa's name, a scholarship fund. It was supposed to help underprivileged kids from our hometown go to college. Beautiful idea, legacy stuff. Only, when the paperwork came to me, because I was managing some of the early logistics, I saw something strange. Caroline had set herself up as a paid consultant. A hefty paycheck for doing almost nothing. It didn't feel right. So I flagged it. Quietly. I sent everything to Uncle Martin and said, "This doesn't feel legal." A week later, Caroline's contract was dissolved. She was quietly reassigned, and the family stopped inviting me to planning meetings. I never said anything after that. But clearly, someone never forgot. I tucked my phone away and stepped outside for air. The garden was quiet. The fairy lights blinked like distant stars. And there, on the far side, under the magnolia tree, stood Caroline, alone, looking at her phone. I took a deep breath and walked toward her. "Beautiful night," I said. She didn't turn. "Depends who you ask." I watched her for a second. Then, "It was you, wasn't it?" She finally turned, slow and deliberate. "You're gonna have to be more specific, Danielle. I've done so many things." I wasn't in the mood for riddles. The text, the threat, the reminder about the scholarship. Her lips curled into something between a smirk and a sneer. "I didn't threaten you. I warned you. You walked into this party like a phoenix, but don't forget what ashes you rose from." I stepped closer. "I didn't expose you, Caroline. I protected the family, the foundation. You were taking money from a fund meant for kids." She rolled her eyes. "It was a consulting fee. Everyone gets paid. But you played whistleblower. And now you want applause for crashing the party you were cut from? That's not noble. That's narcissism. I let her words hang in the air. I felt the fire rising in my chest, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I smiled. Actually, I said, I didn't crash anything. I co-sponsored this event. Her face froze. What? Every chair, every tablecloth, every light on every tree, I helped pay for it. Not just financially, with my vision, with my work. I leaned in, low and calm. So while you tried to erase me from this story, I wrote myself back in, with style. She didn't say anything, and for the first time in my life, Caroline had no comeback. Just silence, the kind that finally felt like peace. I turned to walk away, but before I got too far, she called out, "They'll never fully accept you, you know." I paused. "Maybe not," I said. But I finally accepted myself, and honestly, that's all I ever needed. Inside, the music changed. Guests gathered for a final toast. I walked back in, not just as a guest, not even as a host, but as someone who had faced the shadows behind the chandelier lights and still chose to shine. I picked up the mic, smiled at the crowd. Thank you all for being here tonight. Family means something different to each of us. Sometimes it lifts you, sometimes it tests you. But tonight I'm reminded, it's not about being invited to the table, it's about building your own. Applause, smiles, even a few misty eyes. Including, surprisingly, Aunt Claudia. She nodded once. Approval? Or surrender? I didn't care, because I was done chasing chairs at someone else's table. I had built my own, and it was standing strong. So to anyone who's ever been taken off a guest list, don't let it define you. Redefine the whole event. Because sometimes the best kind of revenge isn't petty at all. It's rising, quietly, gloriously, while they whisper your name in rooms you now own. Reclaim your place. Rewrite your story. And remember, being disinvited might just be your first invitation to power. Subscribe now and turn on the bell, because every week we tell stories that turn pain into power and silence into strength. See you in the next one.